All right, ladies, this episode is for you. Gentlemen, I'm going to need you to sit this one out. All right, my friends, I know you have had this itch to go on an adventure. You want to travel, and yet it would mean doing it alone. Maybe your spouse doesn't want anything to do with where you want to go. Maybe, unfortunately, you are divorced or widowed and you don't have anyone to travel with any longer. Well, enter Her House. Her House is an app that helps connect solo traveling women with background checked female hosts. And they're all around the world. Tess Millhollen is an author and founder of Her House, and she has been on previous episodes, and I am so excited to have her on the show again to show you how, as a single solo traveler, that you can go on the adventures you've always wanted. Welcome to Tess Millhollen on this episode of Relax, I Got This, Embracing Life After 60. In today's world, older adults face major transitions like downsizing, relocating, or modifying their homes to age in place, all while embracing life after these changes. As a senior home advisor and seasoned realtor, Robin McCoy guides these decisions with care and thoughtful planning, helping create a vibrant future. Welcome to Relax, I Got This, Embracing Life After 60 with me, your host, Robin McCoy. Yes, thank you so much for coming back to the podcast and just having a refresh on Her House.
Oh my gosh, Robin, thanks so much for inviting me back. I love what you're doing here with your business, and it's so fun to chat with you. It's so great.
Yeah, well, and so for those people that maybe don't know, although I talk about you a lot in a lot of places, let's talk a little bit about what Her House is and why it is and just why everybody should pay attention.
Absolutely. So, what Her House is, it's an app that I developed that helps solo women travelers connect with background checked female hosts. So they have safe places to stay and they save money when they travel. So it's really an app designed for solo women travelers by a solo woman traveler.
Well, and that's how you came about. You know, we were talking a little before the show that you designed it for maybe a 20s, early 30s because that's who you were when you were doing all of those things. And now you're married and you have a child and your life is different, and so that just shows you how other people are now coming to you, right?
Yeah,
That the
absolutely.
over 60 female crowd or the 50, 60, they're showing up out of the woodwork.
Oh, so many women. So many of my current members are 50s, 60s plus. We probably have, I might even have more ladies who are in that age group than in their 20s at this
Yeah.
present time. And what's cool about that, Robin, is that it also creates this community across generations. So we have women who are, in their 20s, even some in their 30s and 40s and 50s, across all generations. So we're actually recently started doing travel mentors for the ones who have traveled a lot. Maybe they're a little bit older. They can help impart wisdom to the new ones, or even just give advice to the new solo women travelers who are still in their 50s, 60s, so that
Yeah.
you can get advice from a woman who's been there. So that's been a really cool dynamic that I didn't really expect inside of Her House, is that we have such a big age group. Yeah.
Well, isn't that, I mean, and I think that's the beauty of when you start a community and realizing what you think, it develops into its own thing, right? Regardless of what that community might be, it's going to take on the personality of the people involved.
Absolutely. And it is, and that's what it is, and that's what we're really trying to cultivate as a true community inside of Her House. I've recently built out Her House groups for the members. So this is a special place just for the paid members inside of Her House where they can, post discussions, ask questions about, upcoming locations, tell stories, really a place where they can communicate that's outside of politics, outside of like the mess of social media, that it's like
Yeah.
safe. They're all background checked. They're all paid members. They're all in this together. And it's really starting to create a really cool cohesion
Bet.
inside of the community.
So let's just explain for those that don't know what they're background checked women. It's international. Kind of put all that together for me. So if I'm like I want to go someplace, but nobody will go with me for whatever reason, why is this a
Yeah.
good alternative for me? Because I think what keeps most women that can't find somebody to travel with them, particularly if you're over 50, maybe you've never done that before. I think young women your age are different than women my age and older. We just didn't do that back in the 70s and 80s and that sort of thing. That just would, I mean, I know some people did. Don't come at me, but you know, my parents, I did it at 50 something, and my parents thought I had lost my mind. So,
Oh, yeah.
so we don't. It's just not something in our DNA that says I'm going to get on a plane and I'm going to go backpack Australia or go walk across Spain or go to Paris because I've always wanted to. So tell me about the benefits of her house and why this might get somebody on the plane.
Yeah, well, what's cool about it is that you can connect with a local who could potentially host you before you get to the country. Because like
And when
when
you say
yeah,
host, what do you mean by host?
like a woman who is gonna host you and like bring her into into
So
her
you're going to stay
home.
at her home
Yes.
and
Yep.
be under her roof.
Yep, yeah,
Yeah.
you'll stay with her and we host each other for free inside of her house. So you don't have to pay like a nightly fee like an Airbnb or a hotel or a hostel or something like that. We host each other for free because it's not a business transaction, it's a
Yeah.
friendship. And because when there's money involved, it changes the energy. You're no longer a friend, you're a business transaction. So that's why we keep hosting and staying with each other inside of her house free
Okay.
between the members. And so, yeah, what's cool is that you can find a friend who will host you when you get to the country. So, for say example, when I first went to Australia, one of the things that made it so much easier on me is that I had a host. Like I knew
Yeah.
Sally, and she was gonna come pick me up from the Melbourne airport. And I ended up staying with Sally for like a couple of weeks. Sally and her family. It was kind of extensive. You don't have to host that long. You only host for like a few days in her house, but I mean, you can host for longer if you want to. But
Yeah.
it made the transition overseas just so much. It wasn't so scary
It was
because
a
I think
soft
it's
place to land when you got
exact,
there, right?
exactly. Like for say example, we have a great host in Auckland, New Zealand, who is a great host. We call them dream hosts when they have multiple like 5-star reviews inside of her house. She's a dream host in Auckland, and a couple times she has hosted a couple of our travelers for several weeks, almost like a month at a time. And I mean, she doesn't always do that, but she does do that once in a while. And it really just gives them a place to land, and they can kind of reacclimate probably to the time change. And then usually Ellen will like take them around and go do fun stuff with them. And they're like, I see them like taking pictures, riding bikes and kayaking and hiking. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so much fun. Like, I want to go visit Ellen in Auckland. Like, this sounds great.
Let's go. I'll go see Ellen.
Yeah, yeah, it gives you a reason to go somewhere, right?
Right,
So
right.
like if you're like thinking of, I really kind of want to go somewhere this spring, I might like to go somewhere with a beach, just get on her house, like who has availability, just start sending messages, start sending homestay requests and see who might be available, and it gives you a reason to go to Seattle. It gives you a reason to go to Miami. You know what I mean? So, and
Well,
you
and I
have free
think that's a
accommodation.
big thing, right? It's like, you know what? Maybe it's like right now in Dallas, in a lot of school districts, it's spring break, right? So there's just people are not working as my office is basically empty today because the kids, and all the things. And you might say, well, I want to go somewhere on spring break. Now, if you've got little kids with you, this does not necessarily apply to you, but I want to go on spring break. I want to go to Miami. Okay, not Miami. Maybe it's Orlando. Maybe it's St. Pete. Maybe it's, I don't know, Hawaii, right?
Yeah, exactly. We do have a couple hosts in Hawaii as well. And so, and some other locals there who might not host, but they would be open to like meeting up with you and maybe showing you around the island. And it's a really cool experience when you're able to meet up with locals while you're solo traveling.
Yeah, I just, this is why I just get so jazzed up about what you're doing. I really do. And, many people know that in I guess it was the summer of 2019, so however many years ago that was now. I can't believe it's been that many.
Right.
I up and decided I wanted to walk. I wanted to walk the Camino in Spain. I knew I was going to stay in hostels along the way. Because I plan. I knew what I was kind of doing. Not really, but I knew what I was doing. But I couldn't find the only person I wanted to go with me would have been my husband, and he was absolutely, completely not interested. And I had so many people, women, and I was in my 50s, women saying, "You're going to go by yourself?" And then I started, before I got on the plane, I'm like, am I out of my bloody mind? What am I doing? So I think that is what keeps so many people at home.
I agree. I agree, Robin. And you know what would have been so great for you is to have a community of women who get that. They
Yeah.
get why you want to do this. They get you. You're not a crazy person. There's a ton of us who love solo traveling,
Yeah.
but you just need to find them. And you can find them in her house. You can find them in a group. We're like, oh, Robin's doing the Camino. Yes, Robin, go Robin. We're gonna be like super pumped with you. We want to see all your pictures, and hopefully we might be able to connect you with some other ladies along the way. So that's what's cool is like you need a community. You need
Yeah.
women in your corner who understand because like people in your normal life, they're not going to understand this. They're not
They
going to
don't.
understand it. No. So you need women who get it and who are going to encourage you in the journey.
Are you 62 or older and considering buying a home? It's important to explore all the opportunities available to you. I want to introduce you to Alicia Dutton with Mutual of Omaha Reverse Mortgage. Since 2013, Alicia has been dedicated to helping baby boomers unlock the benefits of reverse mortgages and reverse for purchase programs. Whether you are looking to stay in your current home or right size into a new one, Alicia provides personalized attention to meet your unique needs and timeline. She is a trusted resource for financial advisors, realtors, and loan officers, and has been a guest on this podcast. She is ensuring you are educated and empowered every step of the way. Discover the possibilities with Alicia Dutton today. So you sent me that you have, because we're focusing here on people over 60, right? And I know that many women find themselves single for any number of reasons. A partner passed away, they got divorced, they were never married, whatever that situation is. And now they're like, I want to travel, but I want to go on my terms. I don't want to go with necessarily other people who have a different agenda of what their vacation or their trip might look like. And so you have, it looks like 5 tips on how to kind of get your mind around going alone, doing it alone. So let's talk about those.
Right, exactly. And I think like the fear really keeps a lot of women from taking this step. So my first tip for women who, have this like, little desire in your heart to like solo travel, you want to do this.
Got this
And
itch.
yeah, like
It's
you
an
have this
itch.
itch, you really want to do this, but you're like scared out of your mind. My first tip is to start domestically. You don't have to like fly to the other side of the world to start solo traveling and getting your feet wet in this process.
I have to
Start-
go to Spain and with
No.
a backpack and walk, 100 kilometers on a path. You can do it differently than that.
Right? Like crazy concept. You don't have to go to the other side of the world because that's what I did, as well. I
Yeah.
went to
Yeah.
Australia by myself. But you don't have to do that. You can actually, start domestically. You can go to a new city in your state that you've never been to for a weekend, or you can fly, maybe to to Florida or to Seattle, or somewhere new that you've never. Green Bay, we have a couple great hosts in Green Bay, Wisconsin, and you don't have to go you don't have to go international. Start domestic. If you can drive there, it'll give you total freedom because you can drive. You don't have to depend on any public transport or anything like that. So that's probably my first tip is you can start domestic, and that's probably my first tip.
So, because that's going to get you used to flying alone or driving alone or kind of just being in a place where you don't know really anyone and I guess just getting your
Yeah,
groove, getting
exactly.
into that mode and understanding, and you're close enough that you can turn around and go home.
Exactly.
Because I
Exactly.
think part of it too is being that far away from home, especially if we have aging parents or we have, you know, even, we've got kids and they're over here, whatever it is. Sometimes being that far away from home is what's scary.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Robin. I didn't even think about that. Being able to come back if you needed to is very easy if you stay domestic.
Yeah.
The first go around, first couple times, and then before you know it, it gets easier, and you're gonna be back home, and you'll be like, oh my gosh, okay, where am I gonna go next? You start like looking at flights and oh, there's a cheap flight to Milan. Like, ooh, like that sounds cool.
So
So
now you're on all those apps that send you the last minute deals, and you go, I'm on that one. I'm out of here.
exactly, exactly. Like the more solo travel you do, the more confidence that you're going to get in
Yeah.
yourself, and just with every trip you're going to get more confidence and you'll be able to do more. But you can start domestic. That's where I would start if I was
Okay.
going to
Start domestic.
start from
All right.
scratch.
Start making your list, ladies. You're going to start domestic. What's next?
Perfect. So, well, we've already kind of talked about this, but my second tip is, of course, find local community before you go. And you can do that, of course, through Her House. There are, some Facebook groups that you can find local community. But the problem is with those Facebook groups, is that you really don't know
Who
who
they
is in
are.
those groups. And
Yeah.
it's actually not super safe to post, hey, like, I'm going to be in Amsterdam by myself these days. Who's there? Like in this Facebook group. Like you don't know
Yeah.
who they are, right? So
Yeah.
that's why I designed Her House in the way that I designed it to make it a safe place. So, but that's one of
Yeah.
my next tips is to find local community even before you get there so that you can get to know maybe some customary stuff. Like if you're going to Japan or Thailand or something like that, that's very foreign to a lot of us here
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
States. So I'm sure there's lots of like culture differences that would be really nice to know from a local before you go,
Yeah.
you
Well,
know?
because when I got to Spain, and it didn't even occur to me, I didn't know tipping. What is the tipping expectation at a restaurant?
Right?
And I was like,
Yeah.
am I going to over tip? Am I going to under tip? I don't know. Here's all my money.
Am I
You know,
being rude?
am I going to
Yeah.
be rude? I don't want them to hate me.
Yeah.
All that stuff is going on, and you get these mental gymnastics. So I think, if you find community, and again, the safety is I think that is the key to Her House is the safety aspect of it
Yes.
or one of the major keys. And so now you're in this private group that is people that, like you said, that get you, that know kind of this whole thing. And you're saying, okay, now you can say, I'm going to be in Amsterdam, May 5th through the 10th. Is anybody else around? Anybody else going? And know that you're not like laying yourself out there for, mayhem.
Exactly. Yeah, you can know and you can feel safe inside of Her House, especially inside of the groups specifically, because
Yeah.
only paid members have access to the groups. So it's a very enclosed container so that these
Yeah.
women can feel really safe talking about their travels and kind of what's going on with them. So yeah, that's
I love
probably
it.
my second tip
Okay.
is what you would do is
Yep.
find some local connections before you leave. And my third one is to have a couple plans in your back pocket. Um,
What, you saying that things don't go as planned all the time?
you really never
Shocking.
know, right? I know. It's like you really never know like what's gonna happen once you get out there. I mean, I can't promise that everything's gonna go well with a Her House host. Like I can do
Right.
everything in my power to try to get you with like connected with great women, but it's like anything can happen, and that's
And
really
not
out of my
everybody gets
control.
along. They can both be two wonderful human beings, but they may just not get along for whatever reason. I think most people can get along with anybody, and
Yeah.
yet sometimes the quirk is not the best, right?
It's true, and that's why in her house we really limit our homestay request to 3 nights. Because 3 nights, it's not gonna make a burden on the host, and then the guest doesn't feel like she needs to stay there if she's like feeling uncomfortable. It's like, oh, like this isn't a vibe, like this isn't like a good
Yeah.
deal. Like 3 nights is good, and I've had a lot of hosts like extend the stay. If they're getting along and they want to stay longer, then you're more than welcome to extend it. But really just start off with 3 nights and then see
Okay.
how you guys are feeling. That's pretty much what I recommend.
But so a plan B or a plan C, that something in your back pocket. So what kind of things might you need a plan B for? So maybe the situation isn't ideal in the host and guest. So what else might come up?
Yeah, I mean, there could always be, stuff happening with flights. There could be stuff happening with like trains. If you're like, well, I'm planning on taking a train to this city to this city, maybe something happens with the trains. Maybe something happens. So probably what I would do is, you know, if you're going to a certain location, you have your accommodations set, be sure to just research maybe a couple of other hotels or hostels that you would feel comfortable staying at, and just keep them, maybe some screenshots of them on your phone, and just have them on standby
Just in
just in
case.
case
So
anything
you have some
happens.
place to go should you need to.
Yeah,
And you're
exactly.
not, I mean, and again, that comes back to the safety issue, right? It
Hmm.
comes back to a safety issue, not that the host is unsafe, but something could happen to the host, right? So the
Yeah,
host gets sick, gets called away. Their mother in another city is ill and they have to go.
yeah.
Anything can come up. So just having a place that says, all right, I understand you've got to leave town. I'm going to go stay over here.
Yeah, like I'm still gonna be okay. You're still gonna be
Yeah.
okay. And then it just, a lot of times it's gonna be fine. Everything's gonna
Yeah.
work out. But it might just give you a little peace of mind too. If it doesn't
Yeah.
work out, you know you have a place to go. You're gonna be fine. Everything's gonna be great.
It's
So,
all going to be fine.
absolutely.
Okay, number four.
My number four is okay, so feel the fear, but take the next step anyway.
Do it anyway. Do it
Just do it.
scared.
Just do it.
Do it
Yeah, because
scared.
it's like you're gonna feel so scared when you get on that plane. Like, Robin, when you went on the Camino, like I'm sure
I
you were
was
terrified.
petrified. I was
Yes.
petrified. I, my husband was going to come home from work a little early, and he was take me to the airport. Right, all morning, I was like, "What am I doing? I'm out of my mind. This is crazy." And he got home, and I didn't leave for like several hours. Like, and DFW is just like right there to my house. I'm like, "Take me to the airport." He's like, "Really?" I'm like, I know how to go to the airport. So just take me to the airport.
Yeah.
And then it's, oh God, Robin, you know how to get on an airplane. Just get on the airplane. You know how to do that. And
Right.
all the way, okay, now I'm in Madrid, find the train.
Right.
Okay, because I knew where to go next, right? I had the plan. But it was just one step at a time until you're so far down the road you can't turn back, right?
Exactly. Yep.
At that point, you're in Spain. What else are you going to do?
Exactly. And it's just the next step, the next baby step. And you don't have to have it all figured out. Like, just take the next steps. Just like what you said, like, okay, just get to the airport. Okay, now just find my gate. Okay. Okay, get a coffee. Okay. you know,
I got
so
beer, but okay, yeah, coffee's good too.
grab a glass of wine. Watch, chill
Yeah.
out. So, you
And I don't
know,
know why I was so terrified. I was excited every single day for a year while I planned this and bought my backpack and my hiking boots, and I studied, and I was in the pilgrim Facebook groups, and I was ready to go. And that day I froze and I couldn't understand why I was so scared. And it wasn't, I guess it was just fear of the unknown.
it is.
I wasn't scared to do it. It's like jumping out of an airplane. Yeah, I want to do
Yeah.
it. Now you're up there and the guy's behind you and you're like, here we go. And you're like, wait, no, not yet. And then you're flying through the air.
I think it's like a dream, sometimes like solo travel is kind of like a dream. Like it's like a far off distant thing that we dream about, but then when it's right in our faces, then you're like really faced with, okay, am I actually going to do this? Am I actually going to realize this dream that I've had for so long? And I just want to encourage your listeners that everyone feels like that. Just take the next step. Take the
Take
next
the
step
next step.
anyway. Yeah.
Because you know what? I would rather be scared to death and through the whole thing, really, rather than staying at. I'm so glad I did what I did,
Right.
because if I'd have stayed at home, I would be regretting it to this day that I didn't go do it.
I'm so glad you said that, Rob, because that's exactly how I felt when I was faced with the opportunity to go to Australia. I was like, am I going to regret doing this or am I going to regret not doing
Yeah,
this?
yeah,
And I would have regretted it for the rest of my life. And I think that there are so many opportunities which come at us in our life that if we don't take advantage of them, they will pass you by.
yeah.
And
They
then they
will.
won't come back.
Yeah.
Like if you have the opportunity, you've got to go for it.
You just yes, you do, and it's and I saw something that women, we get our superpowers at about 50 or 60. That's when women's superpowers really start to come in because we don't have little children anymore. We may or may not have a partner, but we're also more okay to make decisions for ourselves.
Right.
And we get these superpowers that say, if I don't do it now, then when am I going to do it? Because I haven't done it in the last 30 years. And I probably won't be able to do it 30 years from now because I'll be 90. So if I don't do
Exactly.
it now, when am I
You
going
won't.
to do it?
Yeah, you're never going to do it. You just got to take advantage of those moments and seize the day,
Seize the
seize
day.
it.
Carpe diem, all the things.
Exactly. You really got to do that. And yeah, I 100% am with you there,
Well,
Robin.
and I think that's where your fifth tip comes in.
Yes, so my fifth tip is while you're out there, carry a knowing that there are good people in the world who want to help you. I think that, you know, especially here in America, I feel like, we're bombarded with bad news all the time, that there's all these horrible people, horrible things, this violence and I feel like it's a lot of like fear. They're just like stoking fear in us all the time. But what I know to be true is that there are good people all over the world who want to help you.
Yeah.
And before I left for Australia, it was a guy, he just really understood what I was doing, right? He's like, I know what you're doing and it's great. And he was a traveler too. Like travelers, like they get it. Like
Yeah,
they
yeah,
understand it. And he's like, know that while you travel, you will always be provided a person of peace. And I was like, a person of peace. And I was like,
I like the way that.
what does that mean? He's like, basically, magically, people will show up on your journey to help you. And he's like, I don't know what it is. I don't know how it happens. It's just God bringing people into your life, into the journey exactly when you need it.
Yeah.
So, Robin, I experienced this over and over and over and over again, especially while you're solo traveling as a woman. People will come out of the woodwork to be there for you, to help you, to support you, and just carry that knowing that
Yeah.
people are going to be there. and that
And they
people are
are
going to show
there.
up. Hmm.
I found
Yeah.
the same. I
Hmm.
found the same. I didn't get injured on the Camino, but a previous injury flared up on the Camino, and for some reason there was an albergue that I had to get to. I mean, I could barely walk, but for some reason I needed to get there, and I had no idea why. But when I got there, it was because the people that owned that albergue were the kindest people I could have ever met. They let me stay. They made sure I had food. They, helped me when I realized I was going to have to go home. They helped, and they were there. And then people were coming in, and I won't ever, because I don't speak Spanish. And so without Google Translate, me and, and this guy could not speak. An Irish guy came in, and so here I am, because I hadn't talked to anybody in days. Told his girlfriend about me and that there's some chatty American who can't seem to stop talking.
But that was brutal for you not talking to anyone
Oh
for
my
5 days.
God. Like, talking. It was terrible. That was the worst part. It wasn't that I couldn't walk, it was that I had no one to talk to.
That's awesome.
But funny Irish guys might show up, and there you go. And you have somebody to talk to. He might not have gotten out of there soon enough, but
That's awesome. Oh, see, and they get you have great stories like that
Yeah.
come up from like solo traveling. Like if you're like traveling with like a group of people, maybe on like a tour, you might not have like these really cool, neat local
Yeah.
experiences, that you get when you're solo traveling like this.
Well, and I get that people want to go on a tour because then you go to all the right spots and you are their safety in numbers and all those things. But I would just, I just want to encourage people to and encourage women that if you're getting a wandering spirit, act on it.
Yeah.
And you don't have to be a single person. I mean, like I said, I left my husband at home because he had absolutely no interest in doing what I wanted to do. None. Zero.
Yeah. And you know what's funny, Rob? Like, I recently had a baby. My son's about to turn 1 at the time of this recording, and I'm like feeling the itch to go to solo travel, like somewhere by myself for a weekend. And I'm like, oh, could moms do this too? Like, have I even like not even thought about like moms like taking a weekend or a week to go somewhere by themselves, like, because I feel like I could use that. I feel like I
Yeah.
need that as a new mom. And it's just like solo traveling, like if it's in you, if it's in your heart, like you can have it, I feel like at any
Yeah.
point in your life,
I
you
think
know
so too.
yeah.
I mean, yes, you've got a husband. He's a father. Father's father. They don't
Yeah.
babysit, they parent.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and luckily, my husband's like really, quite supportive of me, like,
Hmm.
doing my thing. So, so I've been kind of researching like maybe little places to go for like a weekend by myself, probably stay with a host somewhere. Just because I feel like there's something about solo traveling, even for a weekend, it just like revives me. It revives my soul. Like it's really good for my heart. I do a lot of praying and writing. I write a lot when I'm solo traveling as well. It's like more of like a spiritual journey for me, like while I'm
Well,
traveling. So yeah,
it has to
it's
be,
great.
right? I mean,
Hmm.
our day-to-day lives and her house is your business. It's your company. So you are in the business side of it while trying or your goal is to give women this spiritual and this enlightening experience, but you've got the business side of this too. So I think you need to take that time as well and call it research. I don't know, go stay with the host and now it's research because
No,
you
it's
feel better
perfect.
in your mind, right? That
I'll write it
says
off, like,
yeah, exactly.
and it's great. I love staying with hosts. I stayed with a host in Florida. I stayed with a host in Puerto Rico. And it's just so, again, I could go on and on. It's just such a fun experience staying with locals.
Yeah.
They usually uh, get me connected with their community. I've been invited to like barbecues, sand volleyball on the beach with their friends, we're going out, like, I want to show you all my favorite, like, this is the best Puerto Rican food, like, this is,
This
like,
is like the real deal right
yeah,
here. The
yeah,
grandma's in the back cooking it.
exactly. So it was just, it's so good for my heart and my soul, like, every time I
Yeah.
go. Yeah.
Well, I hope this is what is encouraging. I wanted this to light a fire in somebody's heart and trigger the brain cells that, get those synapses going and firing, that this is a possibility.
100%. It's it's more possible than ever before
Yeah.
to do something like this. And it's all the rage. Like there's so many women doing
Yeah.
this, and you just got to surround yourself with women who get it, and you'll be able to find that
Yeah.
inside of her
I
house.
like that for, that women that get it, that
Yeah,
get you, that understand why you want to do things the way you want to do them,
exactly. And
right? And when you
I'm
want to do it.
kind of selective about who I talk about, like about her house, like especially with my family, because it's like, they don't get it. They don't get
Yeah.
it. They don't get it. But women who do get it, like you, they understand how powerful it is. So it's
Yeah.
like if you don't have people in your life who understand why you want to go to the other side of the world by yourself, that's okay. They don't have to get it. Just come into her house, we get it, and we will like we'll back you up. Like we know how great it is. So we'll back you up.
So how does somebody research this? Let's, tell people how to find this. What, you say it's a membership, so there's
Yeah.
no charge to go stay somewhere. So there's no hotel bills, ladies.
Exactly, exactly. So, how it works, you can learn more about her house, like our values and hosting and all that good stuff on the website, herhouse.co, herhouse.co. So, you can learn all about it there. When you're ready, you can download the app. The app is available in the Google and Apple Play stores. And once you download the app, you'll go ahead and go through like an onboarding session where you can create your profile. After that, you can go ahead and get your membership. So you can get your membership inside of the app, or you can also get it on the website as well. And once you get your membership, have special links for you to complete your background check. The background checks are all paid for. You don't have to like pay extra or anything for the background checks. So just complete your background check, and then you'll have full access to the community inside of the app. You'll have access to the small groups. You'll have access to all of the member profiles, so you can see their names and locations, because all member profiles are hidden until you have a paid membership and a background check
Okay.
for
So again,
safety
going into
reasons.
that safety and keeping it contained,
Exactly.
right? Keeping the mayhem, for lack of a better word, out.
Exactly. It keeps a more it's a safer environment because it is a public app. Anybody in the world can get on it, and because I have these safety measures, I've been able to keep just like random guys
Yeah.
from seeing my members, from messaging my members. My members are in a safe environment, and that's really what is really important to them and important to me
Yeah.
to keep them safe.
I think that is really a key point in this, is that it is a safe environment. It's an enclosed, it's a ecosystem in and of itself. And so there are things in place, because every one of us has gotten some weird Facebook request from some weird guy, right?
Yeah.
And so your precautions and the well, not precautions, whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
are in place to keep that from happening.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Like, that, like, when you're on her house, if you get a her house message or a homestay request, that person has a paid member, and that person has a passing background check. So you can know that, when you get that message, that it's like a real person, and
Yeah.
that she like wants to connect with you and stuff like that.
So when you end
Yeah.
up in Puerto Rico, you're not going to show up at a vacant lot with nobody there,
That
and
that's the goal, right? Like, so you can actually have a friend when
yeah,
you
you
when you
have a
get
friend,
there.
and you're not standing there going, okay, now what? Now what?
Exactly. And one thing that I also added, Robin, inside of the Her House app is home sitting and home swapping. It's It's a smaller offer inside of the app, but I think it's going to be a really great offer because you can offer your home to home sit. So, like, if you're leaving for like a month and you're needing a home sitter or a pet sitter, you can offer it inside of her house. And you could have one of our
Oh,
background check members come and house sit for you, and it gives them free accommodation in your city, and it gives you a free background checked home sitter. So that's something
nice,
yeah, that's
nice.
something I've added, and then also home swapping. So, like, say you're in Australia and you want to have a white Christmas, you could potentially home swap with someone, in Montana or something
Where it
like
does
that.
that, where it does that, doesn't do that here in Texas. Not
Exactly.
typically, not typically on Christmas.
Exactly. So it's not something that that is a really big offer, but I think that I've already built it out inside of the app so that if the ladies want to do that, we did already have a successful home sitting experience. One of our members from Australia spent 6 months or 6 weeks in Denmark for free, like free
Oh,
accommodation, six
nice.
weeks in
Yeah.
Denmark. When our member, when Mika posted that, like she needed a home sitter in Denmark for 6 weeks, it's like, ooh, could I
Ooh.
go to Denmark for 6 weeks? Like it does, like it's exciting, right? So like,
Well,
yeah,
yeah. I mean, okay, so think about that, right? You've got a remote job and you can work anywhere and you can look and say, somebody needs 6 weeks in Denmark? Heck yeah, I'm out of here.
exactly.
Right? And now
Exactly.
you go and you work and you're in Denmark.
Exactly. And you're living like a local and your
And you're living
accommodation
like a
is all
local.
free.
Yeah.
It's all free.
I think
So
that's, see, I again, I'm just all about it. I just think it's the greatest thing.
it's super cool. And the key is community. The key is
Yes.
like bringing these women together. It's about trust, it's about community. And that's what I'm really focused. Like, I'm laser focused on getting these women connected. That's like my top priority right now is getting these women connected with each other, meeting each other, traveling to see each other. Like, that's my top priority right now.
Well, and women love community as a
Hmm.
whole, as a whatever. Women love other women. We like to do things together. We don't just go to the bathroom together. We like to do lots of things together. We like
Exactly.
to do things alone, but we like to be able to share our experiences. I think that's where I'm going with this. I want to share my experience with you that I went and spent 6 weeks in Denmark, and you get how I was like so excited to go do that. Now you want to do it too. And
Exactly.
and I think women love that community and to be able to share the emotion of it. Like,
Hmm.
I'm just so excited,
Yeah, and we're not
with
going to be
other
like
women
you're
that are so
crazy.
excited.
Like
Yeah.
you're crazy. Like it's so scary. It's so dangerous. Like our community is not going to say that. Our community
Yeah.
is going to be like,
Come
"Yes,
on.
we're pumped. Like let's go." We're going to be super excited with you. So if you're needing a place with like women who get that, please come check out her house. Like we would
Yeah.
love to have you in there. It's really fun and it's great. Yeah.
So I think that puts a bow on everything that we've talked about today. Is just check it out because we know there are women out there. I know you're out there that have this and just have this voice in their head that is telling you you shouldn't do it when really you probably should.
Yeah.
Probably
Don't
should.
let it pass you by.
Don't let
Go
it
for
pass
it.
you by.
Go for it.
All right, Tess, thank you so very much. I just love talking to you. I get all excited. Now I've got to go and start like looking to see where I can go. Thank you so much for joining me and coming back to the show and sharing her house with us once again. I so appreciate it.
Oh, thanks for having me, Robin. It's always fun. It's always so much fun.
Always fun. And thank you for tuning in to another episode of Relax, I've Got This, Embracing Life After 60. Go check out her house. Make sure you hit subscribe and like and share and all the things so that we can keep spreading the good word. I'll talk to you next time on Relax, I Got This. We Are One Heart is a 501c3 nonprofit organization dedicated to bridging the gap between the needs and resources of low income seniors and veterans. Rooted in compassion and love, our mission is to provide housing, living assistance, and access to critical resources that ensure dignity and support for the elderly in underserved communities. At the heart of We Are One Heart's work is the belief that every individual shares a common humanity, a heart connected through love and care. We are committed to creating a future that honors those who have shaped the past by offering programs and services that enhance their quality of life. For more information or to donate, visit wa1h.org. That's wa1h.org. Thank you for tuning in to Embracing Life After 60 with me, Robin McCoy. This podcast is produced by Jen Sariano with special thanks to the amazing team at Relax I Got This. You can find more episodes on YouTube and wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. If you've enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, follow, and share to help us spread the message. Until next time, keep embracing life to the